Twilight jerked awake.
I'm really starting to get tired of this.
Now you know something of how I feel.
The soft voice echoing far beyond the acoustics of the tunnel. There was a softness in its hollowness, a wasteful tone under the bitterness. It came from right behind Twilight's head. Twilight shot forward, corkscrewing around as she did try to starwide on her way out of the tunnel. The air was cold, her body stiff and sore, but a fresh dose of adrenaline shot through her veins and kicked her muscles into gear. She had landed hard on one of the stones on the floor, coughing out every little drop of air in her lungs.
Stay away from me!
Twilight sucked in her breath and started swimming her hooves. She was no mere fighter, but she still, well, what a wide haymaker could do to a pony. So feel away was no concerning with nothing more than a chilly air. Wriggling back, she felt something recoil from her wings and started pulling her remaining strength into the final buck. The old root never saw it coming. Twilight hit it. Desperation and earth pony magic via alicorn nature added to her strike. Ripping the root and the concentrated mouth right out of the earth from the ceiling came crashing down on her. The wind knocked her lungs. Twilight pulled her head down and threw up her legs and wings, protecting herself enough from the collapse. Pale, round, up above things, thought,
Breathe.
Dirt.
Do it anyway.
Coughing, pain, space.
Do it again.
More coughing, less dirt.
Again.
Even less dirt, less pain, some amount of coughing though.
Pale? What?
Blink,
See? Light?
blink, breathe, cough. More space to breathe, less dirt in her face and nose.
Move! No, stuck. Move anyway.
More coughing, more space. Blink again, turn head upward. Twilight gasped, forcing more of the frigid air into her chest, forcing the dirt and rocks around the core to pack away and move. Gave her more space for the next breath, and more space to breathe after that. She shrugged, finding the fatigue and the pain, and pressed on, for who knows what kind of chaotics of the dirt was on top of her. But after an eternity, she moved her head a little further into the clear. Above her, the moon hung like a pale orb in a completely featureless sky. It was the only thing that she could see. After being in the dark for she wasn't sure how long, seeing anything was like a dream.
I can just make out the Sea of Megan and the edge of the mare's crater.
Twilight sighed, twisting microscopically from the side to the next.
When I get to Canterlot, after I inform the princess of the thing coming after me, I'm going to lock myself in the observatory and not come out for a week.
The weight around one of her hooves loosened up, and she wiggled out and opened into the open air. She couldn't see the moonlight.
I'm not coming out until I mapped the face of the moon all by myself, and I've named every rock and pothole that I can make out. I am also not coming out until I've preened myself raw.
She couldn't see her wing either. The moonlight wasn't illuminating the surroundings either. Twilight looked back up at the moon. Now she thought about it, wasn't the mare's crater on the other side of the facing hemisphere? When she squinted, the surface looked textured in a way that was faintly familiar and haunting. The more she looked, the more she was filled with a sense of growing dread. More dirt crumbled down from above, making her cough and blink and grit out of her eyes. When she could see again, the moon was fuller and paler. The face retorted to reveal the dark remnants of more craters, a mirror of the mare's crater, and two other captions on by the mountainous edges with the irregular shaped walls. Walls that were teeth. A mountain that was a ruin of a muzzle. The twin craters that were empty eye sockets, now a pony's skull. Twilight clenched, She recoiled, by the rock that still held most of her in place. Above her, in the darkness of those eyeless voids, 2 points of cold blue flame sparked, and the frost once again hung in the air around her.
Twilight Sparkle,
The skull spoke, lower jaw being damned.
I will have my night.
What? What are you?
Twilight shivered.
What do you want?
Revenge.
The skull seemed to answer both questions at once. The voice grew closer.
You stole from me. Stole my right. Stole my world from me. Tonight, I make things right.
I don't understand.
Twilight blinked, tears rolling down her eyes.
Who are you? What have I ever done to you?
Fool! I am the one called Nightmare. You stole everything from me on the eve of my ultimate victory. You killed me, Twilight Sparkle.
No, I didn't! Luna? She's alive!
Twilight shivered, staring as her entire body shook, shivering from the cold.
I didn't kill you! The elements,
Do not finish that sentence!
The voice was as loud as Twilight's own, now bouncing off the walls of the collapsed tunnel.
You know what your precious elements of harmony did. My body might have walked off, back to Celestia's embrace, but I died that night, and you are responsible!
No!
The skull cracked, the flames bursting out of the eye sockets and eyes forming around the surface of the void, and then went this cocooning scream. More dirt fell, and there was a rush of air in the ceiling that gave way to leaves and the roots and the grass around the stairs in Twilight's eyes. Twilight stared, pushing with her legs with the last bit of strength that she had in her body, her horn flaring to life and freeing herself from the rubble. The sound of the scream got louder and louder, drowning out everything else that she felt. The ice and blue fire swept up, one of the opening of the chimney into the sky, curling around into the shape of a face Twilight only remembered from her own nightmares. Giant slit eyes rotated and faced her, now finally being free. The blue light lit from the cave and forest alike, gathering brighter and brighter. The wind wouldn't stop either. Wet leaves slapped her face, and the roots tear at Twilight's mane as Twilight climbed. She was almost to the top when the swirling mass of the nightmares came crashing down.
I will have what is rightfully mine!
Twilight grabbed the lip of the chimney and gave it her all to haul herself out. She looked up, and the blue light covered the entire world. It filled her view, changing down as she looked at the rampaging storm given the unnatural life. She dove forward, sparks flying from her horn as she casted a shield spell around herself. She could feel the moon on the horizon when she opened her eyes. Dew lay heavy on the leaves around her, the entire cold seeming gone. In fact, she felt warmer than she had in what seemed like a long time. She took a deep breath, savoring the taste of the damp forest air in her tongue.
I'm alive?
Twilight sat up slowly. The sheer surprise and evaluation she was feeling tempted the aches and pains of all of the damage she had taken. She turned her head gingerly, licking her canines and testing to make sure nothing vital was broken beyond repair. Her spine popped, otherwise seeming intact. Twilight then began the tenuous task of repairing her experiments, one limb at a time. The discomfort she was in was indescribable, but the fact that she was able to keep everything was a miracle. She felt like she had beaten to the dawn, and the dark and the forest around her seemed indeed undone. Once she was back on her hooves, Twilight's lit pupils widened until her surroundings were merely shaded instead of a low tone in shadows. Only then did she start her next series of tests to take a step forward and to her goal, Canterlot and the throne room.
I can't wait to tell the princess about this. We have so much catching up to do.
Support me on Patreon and Ko-fi. Links in the description. Thanks for listening and be sure to subscribe. Good night, every pony.